The Servant's Secret. In the gated community of Willow Creek, where manicured lawns line the streets and every window seemed to shine like glass in a jewelry store, live Richard and Eleanor Harris. To their neighbors, the Harrises were the very picture of success. Richard was a respected businessman, tall, confident, with salt and pepper hair that made him look both authoritative and approachable. Eleanor was known for her impeccable style and discipline. Her sapphire eyes and tailored dresses were as much a part of the neighborhood's reputation as the country club down the street. Their 4-year-old daughter, Lily, was the center of their world, or at least Richard's. Into this polished household came Mariana Alvarez, their maid and housekeeper. Mariana was 32, quiet, efficient, and carried herself with the kind of dignity one might expect from someone who had endured far more in life than the family who employed her. She had come from a modest background, working tirelessly to support her younger siblings overseas. For her, the Harris household wasn't just a job. It was survival, hope, and sometimes an escape. On one particular Tuesday afternoon, fate twisted their lives together in a way none of them expected. Eleanor had just returned from a charity luncheon, her high heels clicking on the marble floor as she entered the grand foyer. She carried a designer handbag, her expression sharp, as though the world itself needed her approval. She moved through the hallway with the air of someone accustomed to being obeyed without question. Her eyes fell upon a sight that stopped her heart cold. Mariana was kneeling on the living room rug, holding Lily in her arms. The child's head rested limply on Mariana's shoulder, her small hands dangling like fallen petals. Mariana was murmuring in Spanish, her voice low and soothing, gently rocking the child as though trying to calm her. To Eleanor's eyes, it looked wrong. Too intimate, too invasive, too dangerous. Her pulse surged, her breath caught in her throat, and before any rational thought could take hold, anger consumed her. She stormed forward, her voice a blade cutting through the air. "What are you doing?" she snapped. Mariana looked up, startled, her dark eyes wide. She was burning up. She wouldn't wake. "I was just—" But the words never finished, because Eleanor's palm met her cheek with sharp, echoing slap. The room fell silent, except for the ragged sound of Eleanor's breathing. Mariana froze, her hand pressed against her reddened cheek, her lips parted in shock. She did not retaliate, did not speak. She simply stared, hurt shimmering in her eyes, as though the very foundation of her dignity had been torn away. Eleanor stood over her, trembling. "Don't you ever touch my daughter like that again." At that exact moment, the front door swung open and Richard stepped inside. He carried his briefcase in one hand, his tie loosened after a long day at work. He stopped dead at the sight before him. Mariana crouched on the floor, cheek flushed, Eleanor standing rigid, and their daughter limp in Mariana's arms. What the hell is going on here? Richard's voice thundered. Eleanor turned quickly, defensive. She was holding Lily, without my permission. I don't know what she was doing. Richard, it didn't look right. Richard's eyes narrowed. He dropped his briefcase, kneeling immediately beside Lily. He touched her forehead, his fingers trembling. She was hot, far too hot. He looked at Mariana. "What happened?" he demanded, his tone urgent but not accusing. Mariana steadied herself. "Senor," she had chills. She wouldn't wake up. I thought she was fainting. I was just trying to comfort her until you came." Richard's chest tightened. He shook Lily gently. "Sweetheart?" "Lily." The little girl stirred, her eyelids fluttering open. She blinked groggily, then reached weakly for her father's neck. Richard exhaled with relief, clutching her close. Eleanor froze, her own breath catching. She had expected something sinister, but here was the truth, undeniable and painful. She was really ill? Eleanor whispered. Mariana's voice trembled but remained steady. "See, she has a fever." Richard rose, still holding Lily, and looked at his wife with piercing disappointment. "You struck her," he said flatly. "You struck the woman who was trying to help our child." Eleanor's face flushed, her eyes glistening with both shame and anger. "I didn't know. I thought—" "You thought wrong." Richard cut in, His voice wasn't loud, but it carried the weight of judgment. That evening, the house fell into uneasy silence. Lily was resting in bed, her fever slowly subsiding after medication. Richard remained at her side for hours, while Eleanor wandered the halls like a ghost, the sound of her own thoughts too loud to bear. In the kitchen, Mariana quietly washed dishes, her cheeks still faintly red. She moved mechanically, as though each action was a shield against the storm of emotions inside her. Eleanor entered slowly, her usual confidence gone. She stood there, watching Mariana scrub plates under the running water. For the first time, Eleanor noticed the weariness in her maid's posture, the small scars on her hands. The exhaustion etched into her features. "Mariana," Eleanor began, her voice fragile. Mariana stopped, but did not turn. I owe you an apology." The maid's shoulders stiffened. Slowly, she turned, her eyes guarded but not unkind. Eleanor swallowed hard. "I was afraid. I saw you with her, and I thought—" She stopped, words failing her. "I let fear and prejudice get the better of me. You were protecting her, and I punished you for it." For a moment, silence hung between them, heavy and raw. Mariana finally spoke, her voice soft. "I have worked in many houses, Mrs. Harris. I know what it is like to be mistrusted. But Lily, she is like my own. I would never harm her." Eleanor's eyes filled with tears. She stepped closer, her hands trembling. "Can you forgive me?" Mariana studied her for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "It will take time. But yes, because Lily needs us both." Over the next weeks, a transformation occurred in the Harris household. Eleanor, humbled by her own mistake, began to watch Mariana with new eyes. She saw how tenderly Mariana cared for Lily, how patient she was in teaching the child little Spanish phrases, how gently she soothed her to sleep with lullabies Eleanor herself had never sung. One evening, Eleanor found herself sitting with Mariana on the back porch. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with hues of gold and rose. Lily played in the yard with a small stuffed rabbit, her laughter ringing like bells. Eleanor broke the silence. "What went through your mind that day when she faltered, "when I struck you?" Mariana's gaze lingered on the horizon. "I felt shame, not for myself, but for you, because fear made you see me as something I am not." She looked at Eleanor then, her eyes deep with quiet strength. "But I also felt hope, because you loved Lily enough to fight for her, even if you were mistaken." Eleanor's lips trembled. She blinked quickly, wiping away the tears. "You're right. I let my fear control me. But I want to do better." And for the first time, Mariana smiled. A small, fragile smile, but real. In the years that followed, the memory of that slap remained, not as a wound, but as a turning point. It became the moment that reshaped Eleanor's heart, that forced her to confront her own flaws, that transformed Mariana from the maid into family. The people of Willow Creek would never know the truth behind the Harris's changed household. They would only see Eleanor walking hand in hand with Mariana at school events, see Lily running into her nanny's arms with unbridled joy, see Richard watching them all with quiet gratitude. And in the silence of the grand Harris home, where one suspicion had echoed, there grew instead a bond built not on fear, but on trust, forgiveness, and the unshakable love they all held for one small child who had brought them together.